Hey everybody, this is Stuart with Wine on the Diamond. Today I'm reviewing two wines for you guys today. I'm reviewing these wines because Macy's Wine Shop sent them to me. Now they didn't send them to me to review. They actually wanted me to be part of a somm tasting of their Italian wines, and so they had 3 Italian wines. These are 2 of the 3. I'll do the other one in another video because it's kind of unique and I want to talk a little bit more about it. So anyway, back to that tasting. We had an awesome tasting. There were about 30 or so of us that are on that tasting, and it was led by an awesome somm named Ferdy. I'm gonna go ahead and put his information to his Instagram below in my video description because he was super knowledgeable, he was very entertaining, and he is someone that if you like wine, you may wanna follow on Instagram. Anyway, so that being said, let's get to this first wine. So the first wine I'm going to be reviewing today is the 2020 Pierofosco Chianti. It's from the Chianti D.O.C.G. It's 13% alcohol by volume. I don't know how much I paid because, like I said, Macy's sent it to me, so thank you for that, Macy's. So one thing I will say about this wine is you'll notice that it's empty. Nothing in here. And the reason for that is because I give it a 2.5 on my scale. It's good, going towards very good. If you let it age for a little bit, it will be very good. So this wine was a very good representation of Chianti. It basically had everything you were looking for on the nose. It had cherries, it had a little bit of plum, it had this oregano and this bay leaf action that was going on, with a little bit of, just a touch black pepper. And there's a little bit of a slight meatiness to it as well, almost like, sort of like a dried cured pepperoni. I really enjoyed this wine, had great acid, had great body, perfect amount of tannins, and like I said, I ended up giving this a 2.5, and if you let it age for a little bit longer, it will be a solid 3-point wine on my scale. So keep that in mind if you're looking for it, and it was so good that when I was done, I just relaxed a little bit, and I ended up just going from about here on the tasting to about here by the end of the night. I recommend this wine. This one's good. So with that one out of the way, I do have a bottle here and it has wine in it, so let's do a tasting of it. It's the StraBIOrdante Prosecco. You'll notice that the bio is green because they're actually one of the few certified organic producers in Prosecco. Oh, and it's 11.5% alcohol by volume. So let's take a look at this wine. Now, this already being opened, it has a little, lost a little bit of fizziness, but I'm not gonna hold that against it. Let's take a look at it from a color standpoint. You are a pale lemon, no artifacts, no cloudiness. All right, so on the nose, so you're getting this, there's a little bit of like a lemon lime effect. It kind of reminds me of like a really zingy Sprite. There's also a little bit of orange, I'm getting a touch of green apple, and a hint of peach. Anyway, it's a ton of primary fruit, which is exactly what I expect from a Prosecco. And the intensity on the nose is medium plus. It actually has some decent intensity on it, but it has a taste. High acid, light body. It is a dry Prosecco. It is a dry Prosecco. There's no sweetness to this at all. Intensity on the palate is medium plus. The other thing I'm quite enjoying about this is the finish. For a Prosecco, it actually has a relatively long finish. Like, I'm still on that first sip. I can still taste a little bit of that peach. I can taste that orange, that apple, the lime. So it clocked the finish at about 42, 43 seconds. It's close enough to medium plus. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it has a medium plus finish, which from a Prosecco was not what I was expecting. And to be honest, we didn't have a lot of time to do all 3 wines, so I didn't really think about the finish when I was on the call. I was looking at more of like the primary elements, trying to determine if I get any other sort of items out of these wines. I wasn't thinking about the finish that much. I wish I had, because I wish I would have brought it up. This has one heck of a staying power on it. In terms of the mousse, right now the mousse is a little bit flat. Not totally gone, it's still there. It's more of like a Vino Verde level. But when I opened it earlier, it actually had a really bright acidic mousse. The bubbles were actually fairly large in my mouth when I moved them around, so the mousse was actually, had a reasonably strong texture to it. But overall, this is just a clean wine. It has a good finish. It has great intensity on the flavors, and it's just a light, fun Prosecco. It's not sweet. It's not trying to be anything other than just a good Prosecco. But is it good? We don't know until we get to the blick. From a balance standpoint, full point. This is, like I said, this is what I expect from Prosecco when I drink it in terms of balance, so not gonna knock you for anything here. In terms of length, medium plus finish, 0.75. Intensity, medium plus on the nose, medium plus on the palate, 0.75. So in terms of this, I'm not looking for tertiary and I'm not looking for secondary because it's Prosecco. What I'm gonna be looking for is the range of those primary elements. So I had some green fruit notes, I had some citrus, and those were the big dominant elements there. Oh, and a touch of peach, had a little bit of stone fruit. Could there be more? Yeah, you could have some tropicality. I would have liked maybe some like pineapple or some mango or other type of notes to add to that additional complexity. Also a little bit more, like maybe if I had been able to pick out pear or some additional elements within the stone fruit family, then I would probably give you a full point. But with that being said, I'm gonna give you half a point. You still had a pretty decent range. So in the end, that's a very good. And I think it deserves it. So not only is this wine very good, I would actually take this and pair it with events and people and stuff. Like, I wouldn't just leave this for food. This would be a great thing to take over to someone's house if you were gonna have some sort of hangout and you wanted to start off with something light, or there's gonna be appetizers and you want to just bring something. This would go well with cheese, go well with fish, go well with chicken. I mean, you could probably even, I know it's gonna sound crazy, you could even probably do this with something heavier like barbecue. It could probably be a good palate cleanser between different transitions of your sides and your main. It would get a little bit lost, I will admit that, especially if you're having something that's peppery, but it could still be used as a palate cleanser because of that acid, and it will also hold up the fatty stuff. Like, my first inclination on this when I tasted it was I wanted this with like a cheese plate, because I feel like cheese and some fresh fruit in this wine, oh my god, you're gonna be in heaven if you do that. Anyway, this is Mr. Stewart with Wine on the Dime. Have you had either of these two wines from the Macy's Wine Shop? I'd be interested to know if you have. Leave a comment below, and I'll see y'all again soon with another review from Wine on the Dime.